Oh, yeah.
Hey everyone, it's time for Truth Lies Shenanigans. My name is Neo, and I'll be your guide through all the shenanigans today. And here are my co hosts for today's show. Streaming just a couple of miles from the White House, Lizzie.
What's up, everyone? Happy Sunday Fun Day.
Our new mommy, Z.
And introducing Serious Trouble Brilski.
Serious. There he is.
Newest member of the Brilski.
Gorgeous.
So we got Lizzie with the cat, Z with the dog. And we have back on our show for a second time, a day off from her job dealing with her puppies and cats, Dr. J. Welcome,
Hello,
Dr.
everyone. Hi, how are you?
J. Wow, thanks for joining us. Welcome
Thank
back.
you. Thank you. Good to be back.
For those who don't remember, Dr. J joined us a while back talking about COVID and your pets. So it was a really, really good discussion. All right.
Yeah.
So in today's show, our host will be talking about Latinos and getting the blame for coronavirus, Catholic Church getting billions in small business relief loans, special needs children being put in jail, and reparations. And we've only got 60 minutes, so let's get to it. Remember, we're live just about everywhere: YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and Twitter at TLS Live Show. Please share, retweet. We need your help getting the word out. And as always, make sure you join in the conversation. You can comment on any of those live feeds, and we'll be listening and responding. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about what Truth, Lies, and Shenanigans is all about. It's about us sharing our truth with you, calling out all those lies out there, pointing out the shenanigans going on. And on this show, we definitely try to have some fun with some shenanigans of our own. And we have just one single rule. One rule: no cussing. If you're caught cussing, there's a $10 penalty. And if you guys are caught cussing 3 times in the same show, and our viewers will call you out. You're writing a love letter to...
You wrote me beautiful letters, and they're great letters. We fell in
the
love.
clown
Pay no
himself.
attention to those numbers. Pay no attention to
Pay
those
lots
numbers.
of attention to those numbers. Lots of attention to those numbers, particularly the $80. All right. And so this is our custom pot, and our custom pot will ultimately be given to some charity, which we haven't decided yet, right?
Yeah, we have.
All right, guys. So, Dr. J, why don't you take a
Yes.
minute, introduce everyone to you again? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. I am Dr. J. I was born and raised in D.C., still live in the D.C. area. I am mom to twins, teenagers. I'm losing this battle. Send help.
Ooh.
Yes. And the favorite child in the house has 4 legs.
Wow, the favorite
So.
child.
Yes.
So
Yes.
all right. So I know, Dr. J, you watch the show all the time, and you know that every guest host has a special initiation we call the hot seat. All right.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the way the hot seat works, I'm going to ask you a set of rapid fire questions, and you'll just say the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Okay. Ready.
All right. So in the vein of all the pets on here, first question is dogs or cats?
Cats.
What? Boo.
I know.
Boo!
All right. Better comedian, Kevin Hart or Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy.
All right.
Yes.
Prefer to immediately find the cure for coronavirus or win the Powerball?
Find a cure to corona.
Hmm. Apple
Very
pie
noble
or
of you.
chocolate cake?
Apple pie.
All right. You have a choice between one best friend in the whole world and 100 acquaintances.
One best friend.
Sex in the City or Game of Thrones?
Neither.
All right. And last question, would you prefer to try to survive a zombie apocalypse or Terminators taking over the world?
Hey, they already say veterinarians can survive the zombies. We already know how to dodge bites.
A zombie apocalypse it is. All right, you're off the hot seat.
Yay!
Good job. All right,
Good job.
you did good.
job.
Thank
All
you.
right, so we always start at the show with a random question. So our audience and our viewers can learn a little bit more about our hosts each and every show. So, hosts, here's your question. So, imagine we're all living in a Trump fantasy and coronavirus suddenly just disappears. What's the first thing you're going to do?
Go to a bar.
A bar. All right, Z's going to a bar.
Go to a happy hour, proper happy hour.
For happy hour. All right. All right, Dr. J.
Go visit my dad.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, Lizzie.
Mani Petty. I gotta get these nails and feet done, y'all. Gotta get nails and feet done. I already have the bar, so need to go. Take some.
All right, for me, I think first thing I'm going to do is play some volleyball. I haven't been able to
Why
go
can't you
out
play volleyball now?
because coronavirus. You touch the ball and you're next to people, and it's.
Listen, I know you can play with Mel.
One of our viewers and classmates, Mike Winter, is currently at a volleyball tournament in Pennsylvania right now. So he ain't paying attention to the corona. He doing what he want to do.
I gotta admit, I almost went to go play this weekend. Almost.
Stay inside. Stay inside.
Almost. All right. So we have another special guest for today. It's our small business spotlight. Today's spotlight is on Kenya Nail Creations out of New York City. There she is, Kenya.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello. Hi.
Welcome.
How's everyone?
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank you for
to have
having
you.
me.
So
I need
Kenya,
my nails done. I need my toes done.
Man, I need mine done too. Thank you for having me on. I'm so happy and honored and grateful. Thank you.
all right, Kenya, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business?
Okay, I have two businesses. One is Kenya Nail Creations. I've been a licensed nail stylist for almost 17 years. I'm in the Bronx on Westchester Square area. I specialize in safe and sanitary pedicures, where everything that I use is disposable for each client, as that's all state guidelines and laws for every state. And I also have my own bath and body line, which is So Sensuous, and I make vegan soaps, and
Wow.
they look edible, but they're not edible. And I make sugar scrubs, everything for your body, hair care, and I also have Kenya Nail Creations, which is the nail line, and I also provide services as well.
Wow.
hmm
Where's your business at? The
It's
location?
on the Westchester Square because I only go by appointments.
Oh, in New
So
York
for
City?
everyone to contact, yeah, in the Bronx,
In the Bronx.
in New York. So if anyone would like to book, they can text me at 347-742-9996 and my Instagram at Kenya Nail Creations. And anyone interested in getting any products, they can also DM or text, and I also do shipping as well. And my products are now in stores in Atlanta and in North Carolina, and it got accepted for 5 more stores.
Oh, it's
So I'm
awesome.
super excited. You
There
can
you go.
see,
That's
you can see
awesome.
some of
Yeah.
it behind me.
Nice.
Thank
So,
Yay.
you.
so let me ask you, how has this coronavirus affected you and your business?
Oh boy. Honestly, for business wise, it's been a blessing because I'm a full-time teacher and I also do nails. So I went from teaching 8 to 3 to get off and go to the salon from 4 to 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So during this coronavirus shutdown, it has been a blessing for me business wise because people have been super supportive in buying products. And even people at home wanted to do their own feet and do their own manicures. And I didn't have the time to be as creative as I wanted to be because I was tired. I was literally exhausted.
I bet.
So now I see that God willing, within a year or so, that I will be doing this full time, just
Wow.
focusing on my
Yeah.
products. That's the
Congratulate. That'd be
goal.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
So it's
Nice.
been a blessing. I'm honored and grateful for every single person that has supported me. Truly. Yes.
So, what are some
hmm
challenges you face as a small business owner?
Oh my gosh. The time, the finances to get everything, all my supplies in bulk, because I don't have an investor. It's just me.
Hmm.
So whatever, I'm remote teaching right now from home. So whatever extra money I get from people that support and take it from my check, it's just me doing everything. So it's challenging because I don't have a big investor, and I didn't want someone to come right in and be like, okay, let me give you, $10,000, $20,000. I have to do the work myself. I don't want
Hmm.
anything handed to me. Let me put the work in. Let me see how long it takes for me to sell an item. Let me see how long it'll take to fill a store. That I did the work, and now you see that I've done it, and I've had a long term of selling the items. Will it do well, or is it just a hobby? But it's not a hobby for me, it's a passion. So the finances has been challenging because I only can make a little at a time.
Yeah.
So that's the hard
Mm.
part for me.
Lizzie, Z, you guys have any questions?
Yes, I wanted to know. So, how are you preparing for your reopening? And when are you planning on reopening in New York?
Well, I was planning on coming back, but because one of the stores accepted my products in Atlanta, I had to stay longer. So I have to get the shop's been closed since March 20th. So now I
Mm.
have to go back in and get it properly cleaned and the polish shaken up and dusted down. And I have it's a challenge, I'm telling you. So I ordered table shields because of the coronavirus. I have to triple up on everything that I did prior. I have to increase the cleaning, and because New York, I couldn't find any supplies, any Lysol, any
It's
wipes,
hard to
anything,
find
any
Lysol.
all
Yeah.
the masks, everything. But let me tell you the blessing that I got. I put a post up on Facebook that I needed supplies. When I tell you, people that just know me from social media, they sent me boxes and boxes of items to
Wow,
clean
that is a
my
blessing.
salon.
Nice.
And I said, wow. I said, y'all don't even know me. What do I owe you guys? They said, no, you're always blessing someone else. Let me take care of it. When I tell you my living room in New York is full of supplies.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
between ordering table shields to keep, me and my clients separate, to sanitizing stations, to, just implementing proper safety procedures for everyone that comes in. I'm going to be ready, God willing, August 3rd to open up. I'm going in the shop June 28th or the 29th just to clean the salon
Oh,
Amazing.
again.
wow.
So I'll be back taking appointments again safely as I did before.
Z, I'm sure you'll be
And
there.
Excellent. I
what
will
will be
be
your
there, as a matter of fact. I
Oh,
will be
yeah.
what will
there
be
because
your
Lizzie,
safety
go ahead.
guidelines for the shop for customers? Like, is everyone going to be required to wear masks when they come into your shop? How is that going to work?
Absolutely. There's a long guideline before they come in. Um, one side of the salon is hair, and my side is nails, which you have to come through my door. Um, Before you come into my door, there will be a sanitizing station that I will put up outside. You have to sanitize your hands before you come in. Then I will open the door. Before you could just walk freely in. Absolutely not now, because I don't want anyone coming and speaking,
Right.
asking a question without a proper mask. When the clients come in, they'll be giving a Lysol wipe to wipe their phones down front and back. And I will let them know, in order to use your phone in the business, you have to have headphones. I don't want you speaking and you putting your mouth and then putting your
Oh,
phone back
wow.
down on my
Right.
table.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
want that. And if they don't have it, they'll excuse themselves and they'll go have their phone conversation. You still have to come back, wipe your phone front and back, and I have a sink inside. Every client before I provided a service, they all had to wash their hands before then. So nothing has changed. I just have to be more safer. And in the salon, I offer wine, coffee, and tea. You can have your wine, coffee, and tea, but you cannot communicate with me with your mask off. Sip on your wine, put your mask back on, and we can have a conversation. So everyone that comes in, they will know the guidelines before they walk in, and they have to adhere to that, because I don't want to, definitely not get anyone exposed. And I only go by appointment, so it's only going to be 1 to 2 people in anyway.
Dr.
Nice.
J,
Wow.
Very,
Mhm.
did you have a
very
question,
good.
Dr. J?
Yeah,
Thank you.
are your product the products that you carry, are they like
Yes.
vegan or they are? Okay.
Ye- yes. The soaps are vegan. There's a whole bunch, and I have things for like Yanni steaming. I have things for the feet, athletes' feet, essential oil blends, foot soaks. I have pedicure scrubs. I don't know if you can see behind me. Can you see up there? Those are
Yeah, there's a whole,
scrubs. Yeah, those are
wow.
sugar scrubs and a callus remover. I have my own gel polish line as well. So some are vegan and some are not. It just depends on, which product. So I have a variety of things for people to choose from.
A couple of quick comments online. I've got Jeanette Brown saying "smart woman," and she said her daughter's
Yes.
Oh,
working on a
thank
prototype
you.
mask and a straw hole. That's an interesting
Oh, I
thought.
have that.
Yes.
I have those. Those exist. You could get the face mask,
Mm-hmm.
the reusable mask with a hole in it. So you can
Oh,
like open the
Yes.
hole to put a straw in and sip and then close it back up.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. It
interesting.
says,
Okay.
I want to
Innovative.
support you, sis. How can I purchase your products? If you would like to purchase my products, please go on my Instagram, Kenya Nail Creations. You will see all of my products from both
Yep.
lines on there. And if you want pricing, I didn't get a chance to do the website because I'm just focused on creating right now.
Hmm.
But you can DM me. I will give you pricing and I will let you know that shipping is available as well. So just
Awesome.
go on my Instagram and send me an inbox. Hi, Kenya. I'm interested in this. How much? I give you the price and I can get it shipped out to you.
All
And
right, King.
everyone, I just want to let
Uh,
everyone know, anyone that comes in, they're going to have a mask. They have to have a mask.
Good.
And I have about 200 masks ready at the door if they need. And I'm not charging for masks.
Oh,
You're
that's
my
amazing.
client. You come in, you support, I have you. You're covered. You're safe where I am. Trust me. You're in good hands.
All right, Kenya.
Nice.
Well, we thank you so much for joining
Thank
us for our small
you.
business
Thank you so much
spotlight.
for having
Thank
me.
you.
Y'all be safe, be blessed.
Thank you, Kenya.
All right, Kenya.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
All right. Another good
That
one.
was
Great.
Yeah, she was very thorough. A lot of thought went into her reopening process. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just
A
an
lot of
inside story. She was my younger sister's mentor when my
Oh.
younger
Mm,
sister got into the nail game. So, and she taught my sister correctly from jump. Like you have them wash from the beginning, wash in the middle, wash in the end. Use your tools one time. None of that, reusing files on people. She's very good. She's very good.
Awesome.
good.
All right. So let's move on to the hot topics part of our show. Real quick, how it works. Each host comes with hot topics they want to discuss, mostly based on discussions with you or just something that they want to talk about. Um, I'll pick one of the hosts to start us off. They'll tell us what's going on, ask a question to the other co hosts, and we'll start the timer for the discussion and we'll just talk about it. Once time is up, you'll see Genji Ladies' night tonight.
Represent, recognize. It's the ladies' night. Nah.
I'm by myself with the ladies tonight. See how this
And
goes.
you love it.
I have a feeling I'll get ganged up on a few times. All right. So once we see Gingy, we'll end the conversation and move on to the next host and talk about whatever they want. Remember, your comments and questions do help drive the conversation, so please comment away. Let's see. Today, let's start out with Lizzie.
Hello, hello, hello. So today we're going to be talking about reparations. And this is a topic, throughout my entire lifetime in the Black community, we've talked about reparations, the government basically giving, the Black community, African Americans in this country, an apology, one, for slavery and all of the subsequent horrors to slavery, but also monetary compensation for what our ancestors and what our parents and grandparents went through post-slavery, post-Reconstruction, civil rights movement, brown voice, divorce, education, all of that. So back in June, Joe Biden, running for president, he was speaking to the NAACP talking about reparations for the African American community. And he said that he would like the reparations bill, to include Native Americans. Now, I saw several posts online, several comments online once this story came out. This particular story is from the Washington Times. In the story, or in the interview that he did with the NAACP, he was very vague about reparations, okay? Especially including the Native American community. But a lot of folks in the Black community are not down for including the Native Americans in this bill. So my question to the panel is, what do you think? Should the Native Americans not be included in this bill? Should they be excluded? Should this be something for African American descendants of slavery only? Let's go with Z first.
I knew you were gonna go with me first.
I would have helped to pick you too.
Oh man. I guess my first question is, why are they against it? I guess that's my first question. Is it because they feel that slavery in and of itself is a strong enough or serious enough issue that it doesn't need anybody else dipping into the pot? Because
you know that answer, Lizzie? Why they're against it?
Well, some of the comments that I saw online included, why can't we ever have anything to ourselves? Why is it that when we fight for something, we always have to share it? And or Native Americans already got their reparations. It's our turn now.
You mean like because they have reservation lands and some casinos? Like
is that what we're referring to as reparations?
Is that what we're referring to?
I think that's what a lot of people are referring to, but historically, so back in 1946, the government, there was this commission called the Indian Claims Commission, and they agreed to pay, I believe it was 176 tribes across the United States, what amounted to $1.3 billion and an apology, right? But that money equated to only $1,000 per person. So that wasn't a lot of money, whereas the reparations that were given to the Japanese after World War II equated to $20,000 per person. Then again in 2016, President Obama and Joe Biden signed off on another payment to the Native American community that would have covered, I believe it was 17 tribes. And that was roughly about almost $500 million. However, that wasn't really reparations. That was a settlement for a lawsuit. It was like hundreds of lawsuits brought by Native American tribes that equated to $3 billion. And so they settled for $500 million. So I think for me, settling a lawsuit is different from reparations, but I think that's what a lot of people were talking about. In addition to what you brought up was the reservations.
Right. Okay. I get where they're coming from. I mean, I understand what they're saying because it almost ties back into, the all lives matter arguments, which is like, okay, we get it. You have your issue, then you march the streets for yourself. Don't try to ride my coattails, especially now that we finally have people listening. So I can understand the frustration there. You know, that said, I hope that they're not implying, no one's implying that, you know, Native Americans have been properly, you know, apologized to and compensated. You know, I think that's a completely different issue and argument at hand. But yeah, I mean, I can kind of understand it. It's like that argument of, you know, well, my house is on fire. Okay, but we're not talking about your house could be on fire. We're not talking about your house right now. We're talking about the house that's burning.
Right.
And in the case here, it's Black lives, you know. So I understand. I understand the frustration.
All right, Dr. J.
Dr. J?
So it's really interesting because I just read an article coming out of the Smithsonian talking about Native American tribes that owned slaves and that they viewed owning slaves as a status symbol to try to assimilate into the white society that was present. So it's like, so it's sort of like, wow, like first you're like, okay, well, I can see what he's saying, but now it's like, well, you know what? Some of you did us wrong too. So no, you
Mm.
can't have this.
Okay. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm along the lines. I'm with Z on this one. I think, you know, Native Americans should be compensated, um, but you know, African Americans have not been. You know, there's been no compensation, no consideration, um, and there were, you know, the contributions to the growth of the nation, not comparing, but have been significant and unrewarded, and we continue to be held back as Black Americans. So, um, you know, I think reparations are necessary, but whether or not Native Americans should get it, I mean, they should get it. Like, they should definitely get it. But whether or not it should be part of our discussion and reparations for slaves or previous slaves, I don't know that I agree with that. I think they should be separate conversations.
I think it should be noted that for the purposes of what Joe Biden proposed, this was something that he said. This was not some movement by the Native American community. This was something that he said, trying to lump the two together. And so, in that respect, I think he's pandering, right? I think he's,
Yeah.
just group everything together in one big swoop. But Dr. J brought up a good point too about Native Americans who used to own slaves, to which I kind of, and I agree with you, and that did happen, but that was under a system of tyranny for them. And there were also some of our people sold us out during that time. And so I don't necessarily find that that's necessarily a legitimate argument. But more importantly, I think at this point, they're not asking for money. I think they're asking for land back. I mean, there's still Native American land that belongs to them legally, that the government still possesses, that the government still owns, that the government still occupies. And I think that, at least from the research I've done and the articles that I've read, I think that more than money, I think that's what they're asking for,
Just because you said
including
that, Z
in
D mentioned the same thing. If not money, it should be land.
yeah,
And they just won a big settlement in Oklahoma.
yeah, Oklahoma. Well, an acknowledgement, not a settlement yet, but an acknowledgement in Oklahoma. But then there's also Mount Rushmore. Like legally, Mount Rushmore is still their land, and yet we have, built, a facade, a whole structure with 4 U.S. presidents, 5 now if you include the Kanye. Kanye did a whole picture where he included his image on Mount Rushmore. But I think we're talking about, I think all of you have alluded to this. We're talking about two different things,
Right.
and I don't appreciate Joe Biden, stirring the pot. Like, if you want to talk about Black folks and reparations, talk about Black folks and reparations. If you want to talk about Native Americans and the land that they're still trying to reclaim, then talk about that. It's not the same conversation.
Yeah,
That's just
I agree.
I personally agree.
Me too. Yep.
And so the comments online, we got a few comments. Are we talking slaves or just black slaves? That's from Damaris.
In what exactly?
As far as getting reparations.
I mean, these are reparations
because there
that are
were
being
Native American slaves.
Right, but this is a movement that started by the African American Black community.
Yep.
So we're talking about
but just to
reparations
explain her question
for us. Yeah, just reparations for us. Yeah.
Jeanette says the land was stolen, African slaves' labor and freedom was stolen. Yeah. So it seems like most of the people online are leaning towards land for Native Americans, monetary for, all right, monetary for reparations for us, for Black Americans or slaves, former slaves. All right. Good job, Lizzie. All right, moving along good. So we have, let's go to Z next.
Z girl.
All right, so I was really contemplating whether even to bring this up.
Well, let me ask the question. I should have asked this to Lizzie as well. Is this a truth, lies, or shenanigan?
Ooh, it's the truth. Oh, sorry.
I think there's a little bit of all three of those, because it's definitely a truth, but it's lies from the government and it's shenanigans that it's taken this long. So I think it's a little bit of all three.
And Z, truth, lies, or shenanigans for your topic?
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, a little bit of all three. And my heart is pounding right now. I want y'all to know my heart is pounding bringing this up, because I'm going to bring up the church, the Roman Catholic Church. And we all know how churchgoers can be, how passionate they can be.
Yeah,
but we're going to talk about it.
All right. Eggshells. We'll do eggshells. We'll do our best.
We're going to do our best, but I feel like, if you take in government money, then, you can be questioned a bit here. So, as most of you know, the Roman Catholic Church has been having some financial troubles lately related to some lawsuits that they've had to settle recently. And
are we talking about the pedophile lawsuits? I want to be clear. I want to be explicit.
Explicitly, yeah. They had a lot of pedophile, bless you. They had a lot of pedophile lawsuits that they've been settling, and it's no secret that they've been suffering financially because of it, and because of, people leaving the church, because of all of the scandals, blah, 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 blah. So this is before and completely unrelated to COVID, okay? As you can see from this article that's right here, they have received $1.4 billion in taxpayer-funded PPP loans.
Oh, I just want to say it's at least 1.4 billion. It could be as much as 3.5 billion.
Thank you, Neo. You're absolutely right. Okay, so we can talk about how they even got to that amount, because if I'm not mistaken, in speaking to Mel last Sunday, businesses are limited as to how much they can get. So, that's a whole nother situation. But my question to the panel is, should organizations be allowed to draw from PPP funding to pay for debts unrelated to COVID? And especially to pay existing debts.
Hell,
like if you're already in trouble.
Go
ahead, Neo.
$10. That's a curse.
No, that's not a cuss word. Hell, no.
No, they say hell in the church. So
there we go. I'm speaking from the Bible. Hell, I'm quoting. Hell no.
They still cheat on me.
Yeah, especially knowing all of the businesses that are suffering. What do they need all of that money for? You know what I'm saying? What overhead? Who are they not paying? Like what?
The thing that gets me is it's billions of dollars. Billions,
yes.
Not millions. Like we said last week, my wife was on Pi Cycling and Fitness. Got to get that plug in. Pi Cycling and Fitness in College Park, Maryland. Go visit it. Small business. All right. But she was on last week and she talked about getting the PPP loan. And like she said, pennies compared to these millions of dollars that the church is getting, that Kushner's family is getting, that Kanye West are getting pennies. And we see billions of dollars to the Catholic Church. That is ridiculous. That is just off the wall. I'm not
Oh wait, and
saying,
I have a question.
and they're
Do they,
billion, trillion, almost, they're like a country within
I
themselves.
and
I'm getting.
do they pay taxes?
They don't. And it's another thing.
And so that's another.
Oh,
So that was going to be my point. Like, first of all, separation of church and state should not just apply to what we can teach in schools.
Right.
It should also apply to if you are a religious entity and you're not paying taxes in this country, why should our federal government support you and give you money? And then Neo brought up a good point in that, aren't they a separate country? They're not a separate country, but in Italy, the Vatican is a separate city.
Mm-hmm.
It has its own zip code. The Vatican has billions, hundreds of
mm-hmm.
millions of dollars in its endowment. So why are you trying to, rob from the poor to give to the rich over here in the United States? And as a taxpayer, as an atheist taxpayer, I don't want my money going to this. I should have a
Mm-hmm.
say so as whether or not my tax dollars are going to the Catholic Church. And my last point is, okay, so the Catholic Church is getting all this money. How much money did the Baptist churches get? How much money
Yes,
did the AME church
yes.
get?
I mean, granted, they
Like,
need to apply for it, but that's a good point.
yeah, but
They
did they
probably
get, if
didn't
they
apply for the
did
right
they get
reasons.
$1 billion? No,
I mean, but they probably
no.
didn't apply because they figured they're not going to steal money from small businesses the way the Catholic Church chose to do.
Well, because they figured they weren't a corporation.
That's
Hello.
another thing. Dr. J?
So
I think, like the purpose of the loan was to definitely like try to pay your employees to keep you from laying off people, and everybody has an employee, and these people suffered regardless of what was going on and what they were affiliated with. I don't agree with the amount of money that they were given, but I think that maybe a little bit different thought here is just that there are some people who work there, who work in those churches, and they're suffering just as much as everyone else is suffering. So I don't necessarily feel like we should be punishing them because this is their job that they choose to do, just like we all chose a job. And and so if they were using the money to pay those workers, I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with you diverting the money into something else, because that's not what the loan was for.
So that's an excellent point. The only thing is, I think the difference here is who can afford to pay those employees. The organizations that are able to afford being able to pay those employees. Small businesses can't afford to pay those employees. Therefore, most of those employees will be unemployed. But if you're looking at the Catholic Church, Kushner's family, Kanye West, I know we keep saying his name, but he has billions of dollars. He can fund to pay his employees for a period of time, whereas a small business owner can't. And so those small businesses lose their employees in a heartbeat.
And
Right.
also,
I mean,
it's the Vatican's responsibility first and foremost to take care of this, especially since they were the ones that sat back and allowed all of these priests, all of these people within their parishes to float through and molest and sexually abuse all of these young boys and young girls for years, and just systematically just remove one priest from this church here and send him over here and then send them over here without addressing the problem. So we're paying for their cover up. That's what
true,
we're
because
paying for.
they didn't have any money for that. But Dr. J, you wanted to respond?
yeah, I was saying, like, if, like I said, if they're paying employees, I'm okay with that. But like, I know I work for a corporation, and of course, we're not as big as the Catholic Church, but we couldn't apply because we were too big to apply. But I'm looking at my technicians and our staff people, and and see them hurting, and it's like like they could have used this money. Like, they weren't going to use the money to pay off a debt. They were going to use the money to help funnel employees. And like I said, that's what the loan was supposed to be used for. So if they're using the loan correctly, then, I guess anybody could apply. I don't know what the rules were to say that you couldn't apply. But if they're using the money incorrectly, then that's the issue to me, is that if you're not using the money correctly, then you don't need all that money. No.
Z, we have 30 seconds. You want to get the last word in?
I would just like them to be held accountable, just like we have to go and confess our sins to some guy in a box. I feel like they should have to show where this money went. I want proof. I want to see the books. I want to see the papers.
I feel you.
My hours are 4 to 6. You can come into my booth and show me.
Be careful
I'll give you
what
the
you say.
blessing
Show
and
me.
everything, that's true.
I confess my cat to Remy. That's it.
All right, let me try to get some good comments online. Shame. Jeanette Brown said shame. Don't like being shamed. And defeats the purpose of boycotting the church, which takes away people's ability to influence en masse. Damaris said Bible Belt. Mel said, I'm about to walk into a Catholic church now. She's laughing.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Jacqueline Robinson, so they want to be rewarded for having to settle lawsuits because they turned a blind eye to pedophile priests for decades.
That's
Hell
right.
no.
That's
All right. Great comments. All right. So, Dr. J.
Here she comes.
Give you your first hot topic.
Ooh, I heard it's a good one.
Yeah, so my topic is, in Michigan, there was a young lady who got in trouble, got in a fight with her mother, and got charged with the fight and for stealing. I'm assuming from her mother, didn't say. So this young lady, I think she's about 15 or 16 years old. The school shut down, and so everything went online. And so she then went in front of the judge, and the judge sentenced her to a detention facility because the girl did not keep up with her schoolwork. And the girl had not done any more, she hadn't gotten in any more trouble, but she didn't keep up with her schoolwork. And it's come out that this child has an IEP. For those who don't know, it's an individualized education plan, which is given to children who have learning disabilities and other disabilities. I'm a mom of 2 kids on IEPs, and I know that with this online learning and becoming, like I said, I became an 8th grade teacher, and it's difficult. Like, when you're dealing with your deficiencies and you're not getting the support anymore, because when you're in school, you have your therapist and your, your reading specialist and all these other things, and you don't really have that available online. And so to sentence this girl, and she's currently, from what I've read, she's still currently in the detention center and has been for a couple months now, because she failed to do the work. The judge said you didn't do the work and that you are a danger to society. And my question is, like, is this judge crazy? Did she go too far? Because, like I said, the child has an IEP. There are probably, things in place when she is physically in school that are no longer in place when you're online.
Oh, that's true.
And to punish her without digging into, well, why didn't you do your work? The little girl said she kind of got lost and was not motivated. And it's hard. I mean, like I said, I was teaching 2 kids, and they both have IEPs, and one of them is nonverbal. And, we're trying to adapt his IEP to home, and he's not getting his services. He hasn't had physical therapy in forever long. And I can easily see a child who may not have the support at home getting lost, but to sentence this child to a detention center for not doing some schoolwork, when school systems have definitely said there are a lot of kids, normal kids, quote unquote, that didn't do the work. So why are we punishing this child?
Yeah. Lizzie?
So a couple of things. First and foremost, in addition to one, she's been in detention since May. Okay. And so the latest thing that came out, she's supposed to be in the detention center at least until September. And like Dr. J said, for not doing her homework. In a time where that particular state, I believe it was Michigan, correct? They, had, put down an ordinance where they were trying to encourage the justice system, the penal system, judges from sending youth offenders, if you will. And I don't even really consider her an offender in this case, but they were trying to discourage from sentencing youth to jail, given the pandemic, given corona, given, everything that's going on right now. So this judge totally, overlooked all of those ordinances and decided to come down hard on this child who, like Dr. J said, had all of these things going on before you even got to the fact that she didn't do her homework. Okay. And so I just think it points to the over policing of Black children in this country. You had Brock Turner out at Stanford who was caught raping a young woman who was
Yeah,
sentenced to 6
yeah.
months in jail because the judge thought that, it would ruin his reputation. And he didn't even serve the entire 6 months. You have
Only
Ethan
served 3.
Couch, only
Mm.
served 3. You have Ethan Couch down in Texas, the affluenza kid who killed 4 people because he was driving drunk and initially didn't get sentenced to any jail time. Now, subsequent to that, because he kept violating parole and kept drinking and all the other stuff, he was sentenced to jail. But initially, the courts gave him the benefit of the doubt, even though he killed 4 people. But yet, we have this young lady who, for all intents and purposes, like a lot of students across the country, was having a difficult time adjusting to remote learning, remote education, and hadn't, done her homework. She's been in detention, juvenile detention, away from her mom since May.
Wow.
That is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Z?
Just to confirm, this young lady is Black, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
all right. So, just to kind of piggyback on what Lizzie was saying, and I actually wrote this down when I saw that this was going to be your topic, Dr. J. I automatically went back to, and you guys are going to laugh, but an episode of Adam Ruins Everything. I don't know if you've heard of that
Yeah,
show.
I've heard of that show.
But it's this guy who basically debunks everything, and one of the things that he debunked was the prison system and how they start, especially with Black and Latino youths, they start in the middle school level. They're starting at the high school level. So when I read this story, the first thing I thought is all eyes are on police right now. So police aren't making the arrests that they normally would make. Either because they don't want to, they're scared to, or because they're being advised not to. But the prison system still needs to make its coin, right? So it's like, all right, so let's target a different audience. Let's target a different group. We'll start with the kids. We'll put them in detention centers. We'll get them a criminal record, which, as we all know, is hard to shake. Once you're in the system, it's very hard to shake that. And that's where we're going to start getting our coin from. Because guess what? If this young lady doesn't fix her act for whatever reason, which she probably won't, as she's being denied the resources she needs to be able to succeed, the next step will be, all right, well, now you need to do more time in juvie, or maybe you need to, go into the prison system for a month. That's what I saw.
This
So
reminds me
completely
of
unfair.
This reminds me of the conversation we had with the the school to prison pipeline when we spoke with Katie did. And,
Yes, that's
you know,
it. Yes.
and it was very much, Black children. This was particularly Montgomery County that were being just pipelined right into prison. But in addition, I mean, we have to understand people with children with special needs, have special needs. So we have to be considering that. And that, again, it goes back to a conversation we had previously about how policing has become, or where we talked about defund police, the conversation that we had where we said we needed to start looking at what that means. And that really means kind of changing the way we police people and things and children, where we now are maybe treating them, maybe it's social workers who come into the scene as opposed to police officers who are dealing with it. I think there just needs to be a change. Lizzie, we got 30 seconds. Or Dr. J?
There needs to be a huge change. There needs to be a huge change. It's really difficult. Like I said, I have 2 kids with IEPs, and I would say any family out there who has one, if necessary, get a lawyer. We had a huge problem with my son in one of his schools, and without our lawyer, I don't know where we would have been. And it's just, that this court system needs to look at a whole person. We need to start looking at whole persons, whole people, instead of just one thing. This act begets something else. There's something along the line in this child's history.
All right. All right.
Good topic, Dr. J. Good topic.
Gingy tells us we need to move on. That was really good, Dr. J. Thank you. All right, so my turn. All right. Well, let me read some things online real quick. Jeanette Brown said they need the opposite of prison. They need safety. Thank you. I love that one.
Yes.
Jacqueline Robinson said the school to prison pipeline is over-policing of brown children. Damaris says, what are the teams in her school that are supposed to reach out to her? And what was the fight with the parent? Anybody know those answers to those questions?
It didn't say what the fight with the parent was. I didn't read that, but I mean,
I think she has been having an ongoing, as teenage girls are wont to do. She was having an ongoing issue with her mom, conflict with her mom, rules in the house. In addition to that, she stole something from someone at school. Okay. So yeah, she was having issues. She was having problems, but that should not warrant this, heavy-handed reaction by the court system. I guarantee you that a white child in the same exact situation would be sitting at home right now.
Yeah.
With Burger King.
In-N-Out burger. In-N-Out
burger. Adeboyega said the judge is cray-cray. All right.
Oh, yeah. Ade, you ain't lying.
So, all right. So, my topics. Since the start of the coronavirus outbreak, Trump and the GOP have blamed everyone for the horrible response to the pandemic. We're talking China, the Dems, the governors, you name it.
Obama.
Course, even though the clown's been in charge for nearly a full year, a full term, and COVID-19 didn't exist 4 years ago, he, of course, does this.
This administration, the shelves were empty. The shelves were empty. So what you should do is speak to the people from the previous administration, Jim.
The Obama administration, people from the Obama administration would disagree on your assessment that the cupboards were bare. They said that there was equipment.
I know, Jim. Let me just tell you.
That's right. You say broken tests. It's a new virus, so how could the test be broken?
We had a broken test, Jim. We had broken.
I mean, ridiculous. It's a new virus. We have okay. Anyway, so blame Obama. Blame Obama. We're all about blame Obama.
Psychic.
Why didn't he use his voodoo? Because we know he wasn't born here, so why didn't he
That's right, voodoo.
His African voodoo, and it's his fault.
But anyway, recently the blame game has gone even more nasty.
Day laborers, they're finding these are overwhelmingly Hispanic workers and day laborers. You have a lot of people in these households. Once one gets it, that close contact allows it to spread. And if you look at this demographic, I think they're like 6 times more likely to test positive than the broader community as a whole up in Northwest Florida. And I think that that's traced back to those types of living conditions.
Just wear the mask out of respect. Now, I will tell you, I'm not a scientist and I'm not a statistician, but one of the concerns that we've had more recently is that the Hispanic population now constitutes about 44% of the positive cases. And we do have some concerns that in the Hispanic population, we've seen less consistent adherence to social distancing and wearing a mask. I know that it's an inconvenience, but it's a minor inconvenience when you think about the fact that you may be infecting somebody or you yourself may have an underlying health condition that can make it an acute case that ultimately leads to death. So,
all right. So, co-host, my question to you: why are we picking on Latinos now? What is
we want to blame?
What are they doing?
Anything to defer. Anything to defer. Anything to defer.
It's our turn. Black people.
Listen,
you have Ohio in June who was saying that, asking about if colored people wash their hands. And is that because we don't wash our hands as colored people, is that one of the reasons why the numbers are so high in the Black community? This guy is a state senator and a doctor, and he was fired from his doctor's position.
Was he? Good.
So first it was Black folks, now they've moved on to the Latinos. It's.
I mean, I'm confused by it. I'm just confused as to, I mean, it's very direct racism. I mean, we're used to not. I mean, they usually go around it, talk around it, but a lot of dog whistling. But this is like straight racism. It's the Hispanics. They're causing the COVID problem.
Boom to you.
I mean,
yeah.
It goes along with the other. Like everything is the other. The other is threatening to us. That's what the message is, the other. And now they've just picked a different other, and not even true, not even the real, not even anything. But as long as you feel that it is not you, it is them, then you're going to feel okay about yourself.
and let's be real.
And
Go ahead. Good, Lizzie.
Did anyone show him the pictures of all of the white folks at the beaches?
Thank you.
At the bars, at the casino.
In people's faces, irate, upset, spitting, emitting all of these secretions during the pandemic. I mean, are we not talking about that?
I posted a video on our Facebook page where these two little guys were going down the beach, I think Huntington Beach, and they were giving out free masks to people. And then, almost every one of the people who declined the masks were white people, not Hispanics. Matter of fact, there were some young kids who were Hispanic and African American who accepted them and it's like, oh yeah, we'll wear them. But it's not Latinos. It's not African Americans. It is the horrible leadership of people like Trump, DeSantis, who don't really care.
I mean, think about it. Trump wore a mask for the first time publicly last week. For the first time in July, for the president of the United States, for the first time publicly wore a mask.
Who's supposed to lead by example.
Lead by example. Listen. Now he's backtracking from that.
Let me let Z get in here.
No, listen. I think it's hysterical that it's our fault for having to go to work because a lot of Latinos are essential workers. Let's put it out there. They're the ones in the kitchens. They're the ones in the supermarkets. They're the ones picking your produce in the fields. They're the ones, thank you. They're all right. So they're essential workers. So it's their fault for having to go to work. Okay. Then it's their fault for having to live in tight quarters because we all already know how hard it is for us to attain real estate, to attain property. It's difficult in most cities. You have to live in close quarters. So now that's our fault. Our poverty is our fault. Great. And it's our fault also when you come to these establishments and don't want to wear a mask, like you said, spitting in my face.
All those anti-maskers infecting them, the essential workers. Absolutely.
So it's like I saw one of the comments online. It is exactly gaslighting. This is exactly gaslighting. And I'm going to take it back to Goya. And this is why we need to boycott Goya. This is exactly it. It doesn't matter. Listen, it is all-out war against Latinos. It is all-out war against brown people, Black people, Asian people, all right? So to have anybody come out of their face and say, this guy is doing good for us, he's already throwing us under the bus again. It's ridiculous. It is the absolute definition of gaslighting. And if people don't see that now and don't wake the heck up, there is no saving us come November. All right. Everybody has to vote against this creep. And that is it. Everybody. I don't care. We can fight about taxes for the next election. We have to get this psychopath out. He is nuts. He is gaslighting us all.
Dr. J, I saw you had some comments.
I was saying Florida in the past 7 days, 80,000 new cases.
How many?
Of corona. 80,000.
That is disgusting.
Yes, 80,000 new cases over the past 7 days.
And they want to claim it's the Hispanics' fault.
Yes, it's not. It's not their fault. We're dying. Brown people are dying more of this virus, but we're not necessarily being infected more with this virus. Yeah. So, we cannot even sit there and try to blame one group of people or several groups of people when you have people, throwing 2-year-old tantrum tantrums in a store being asked to wear a mask. And those people were not Latino.
One white guy pulled out a gun. He pulled out a gun.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna tell you straight up, and it doesn't even have to be that extreme. Just everybody that I came across in Atlantic City, for example, the people who didn't have masks on in Atlantic City were all white. Okay, there was a couple of kids. I'm gonna say this: there were a couple of kids, black kids, who did not have them on, but you could tell they were just kind of running around, being, just not even staying in place. But I'm talking about coming into the elevators at the casino floor. It was always white people who were like, but I don't want to. You don't know the conspiracy theory. You don't know the truth, what they're trying to do to us. I'm like, oh, you know the truth? Oh, okay.
And listen,
you got it from
I've seen tons of pictures of black folks with no mask on. Let's put that out there.
Yeah, let's put that.
We're not the aggressive ones with the no mask. We are not trying to fight people, pulling guns on people, talking about, our constitutional rights are being violated. So why are we in government saying it's the black people, it's the Latino people, when it's you guys too? Like, don't assign that.
Right.
It's just people who don't want to wear masks that are putting everyone at risk, and the poor leadership. It's definitely poor leadership.
And you're blaming groups of people who traditionally have been, your cleaners.
Yes.
Black and brown. They've been the ones cleaning your house, and we don't wash our hands.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Don't even get me started on hand washing stuff. I guarantee you, I don't know any black person in this country who did not get yelled at every 2 seconds growing up for washing their hands. You come in the house, did you wash your hands? You come out of the bathroom, did you wash your hands? Well, go wash them again. Like, don't.
That's true. That's true.
Don't even start that.
All right, let me get these comments in real quick from online. Danette Brown, gaslighting, as you mentioned, that was one of her comments. Jacqueline Robinson, Death Santis is such a piece of fill in the blank. Next time, just put it in there so I can say it, because Lizzie said I can quote. So.
Hey.
That's my sister. You can quote my sister.
All right. Let's see. Jacqueline Brown. Wow. Yet it's the non-meal Ted out there protesting. I don't know. I don't get that one. All right. So blunt force racism. Esther Adabriega. Damaris says Latinos should stay home and not work. No food for you, no delivery either. That's not a bad idea. It's a great solution.
Yep. That's right.
Don't let them boycott and stay home, or shoot. We're in trouble.
I'm telling you.
Damaris says war against minorities.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it feels like, to be honest.
It really does. It really, really does. Although I have a little bit of good news. So in my neighborhood, I live in an area called Morris Park in the Bronx. And on my running trail during this whole COVID lockdown, I went by this house. I found this house that had a huge Trump 2020 banner on it. I mean, huge. And this guy had one of these like army-looking Jeep Wranglers in his, car garage. And he would sit outside and just, eyeball everybody and, And me and my Black and Latino friends, we're running together and we came across this house and we were scared. But the neighbors were outside and they were like waving at us and, hi, it's okay. Went back last week, that banner's down. They must have shamed him. They must have done something. They were just like, not in this neighborhood, or we're quiet about it, or I don't know. But that sign was down. So,
all right.
A small piece of, something.
So that's our hot topics for today. But before we go, I just want to play this one clip and get a really, really quick response to it. Okay? You ready?
Ready.
When's he being charged?
I don't know.
There's
I'd
a
love to
different
see it.
standard here.
Is
That's my
Roger
argument.
No. I do believe that certain
Trump's
people
confidant.
are treated differently in the federal justice system. I do absolutely believe that. But I also believe that your friendship and relationship and history with Donald Trump weighed more heavily than him just wanting to make sure that justice was done by a person in the justice system, that you were treated so unfairly. There are thousands of people treated unfairly daily. How your number just happened to come up in the lottery, I'm guessing it was more than just luck, Roger, right?
I don't really feel like arguing with this Negro.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
For the sake of this conversation, one of our, weekly guests, Vaughn Perry, texted me earlier and asked me, "Is Negro a slur?"
Mm-hmm. Good question.
And my response was, from a white person in that context,
In the context.
Absolutely.
It's all about context for me. I agree with you only on context. Obviously, it's not a slur, but the thing about, and remember this was the thing I said about the Washington team, the meaning of words change, and it really comes down to the context, how you use it. So context is important. So yes, he was clearly using it as a slur.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about negro.
No, and it's not a word that we commonly use in 21st century conversation. I mean,
Right.
no
It's
one's
like if someone said colored.
Exactly.
Say colored, it's like
even when I would argue, even when Black people use it, at least for me, when I say this Negro, I'm not saying that in a positive light. Like it's a very negative connotation at this point.
Either way.
Yeah, the way absolutely.
Even if it wasn't a slur.
Every minority in this country has heard a word, and the contents and the way and the force in which it was used, we know absolutely the meaning. And the meaning of that word was not good.
Yep.
And, they can offer, they can fight semantics about the word, and that, we used to have to check that box off before we've evolved into different names. But in that way, in that context, in the way he used it, he totally meant to replace it with something else.
Mm-hmm.
And he was smart enough to not say that.
Different N-word.
But
lucky,
he
actually.
At the last
he was
second.
smart enough to say that. Yeah, he was smart enough to change the word, but the content and the meaning of that word was the same. And every person of color has experienced that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's it. That's officially it for our hot topics. Now, don't run off yet. We always end our show with a fun game. So let's get started.
All right, what are we doing today? And Neo's gonna cheat again. Let's see.
I might cheat. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Today's game is Name That Icon. I'll display an iconic image, and you'll have to guess what it is. First person to answer correctly gets a point. Now talk loud and fast, because to Lizzie's point, I'm the judge. If I don't hear you, Liz, well...
He's biased.
All right, the winner of the game gets the final thought for the show. All right, so for example, we have this brand name right here. Anybody know what that is?
NBC.
All right, so I don't know who won that. I'll figure it out.
See? Oh my God.
All right, so let's do this. Let me make sure I get the. All right.
Your Wi-Fi's got to be tight for this game.
All right. So it looks like I'm doing the scoreboard by myself, so we're just going to go with no scoreboard.
I mean, I ain't even...
Are you ready? Let's go.
The White House.
Yes.
That's what their logo looks like?
Yep.
Oh.
So, Wonder Robin.
Shrek.
Yes. I gave that to... That was close. I'm going to give that to Z. That was close. That was tight. You got to yell louder, Robin, because I heard her louder. I heard Z louder.
Okay.
That's the only reason I gave her the point. All right. hold on. Let me write this down. Make sure I get the score right. We got one.
Written down.
Right. Are you ready?
Adidas.
Oh, Lizzie got that one for sure. Got that one for sure.
Domino's.
Ooh, I'm giving a point away.
That was me.
I couldn't figure that out. Point to everybody.
Me.
Point to everybody. Point to everybody. I couldn't figure that one out. That was too close. You guys did too good. Too good.
You know
All
I like pizza.
Everybody's got two.
Winnie the Pooh.
Z got that one. Definitely she got that first.
I got that one, Lizzie.
No, I'm telling you.
Honestly, I think there is a delay on my part because I am speaking before other people.
I think there's a delay going back to you.
But I'm speaking. No, because the delay coming back to me isn't for any other portion of the conversation except for the game.
All right. Let's go.
We better not play for no real prizes.
I know, right? I'd be in trouble, right? All right. Ready. Next.
Hulk. I don't know what that is.
Yes. Oh, Z. Oh, one more point. One more point.
That's
Incredible
a horrible Hulk.
All right.
Don't you see he's green on the outside, he's little on the inside?
All right. Next.
Bill Bixby. Wait, Piglet.
I got, I think Robin got that one. I'm pretty sure Robin got that one.
All right, Robin, you're a
so we're
guest.
still going. We're still going.
Oh, you got it.
Star Wars.
All right. Making a comeback. Dr. J got that one. All right. 4-4. Lizzie, you have 2 points. This one.
Come on, girl.
Go.
Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, she got it.
Holler.
Good job. Congratulations. That's the game show.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm getting everything messed up now. Okay. Good job. Good job.
Don't be salty, Lizzie. I see you.
All right, fun games.
You know, I'm okay with it. Now, if it had been, one of the other gents, then I would have been like, okay, he's down for his boys, but whatever. But he and I are going to have a conversation about this.
Clearly. All right, before we close it out, let's get in some shout outs. Lizzie.
Not sure if she's watching, but shout out to Michelle Earls, our girl. Today is her birthday. Love you. Hope you are doing fabulously wherever you are.
All right, Dr. J, any shout outs?
I'd like to shout out Schefter Law because of all the help they did with Joshua and his IEP.
Oh, we got a little doggy in the picture. Look at that.
Yeah. This is my Sherry.
Now you guys are going to force me to bring my dogs on.
This is Black Panther's sister, Sherry.
All right, Z.
Oh, I love him.
Any shout outs?
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Kevin, Damaris, Jeff. I see you're listening. Ade. Thanks for watching, guys.
And I'm going to give a shout out to the late John Lewis, Representative John Lewis, who passed away. Who was that? Just this week. So, all right.
Yeah.
That's my shout out. All right. So that is our show. Great job, guys. I'd like to thank you guys for joining the show again, and thank you as the audience. We hope you had a good time, maybe gained a new perspective. Don't forget, like, follow, and subscribe at TLS Live Show. We always have great discussions on our Facebook page. You've got to check it out.
Okay.
Z manages that Facebook page, and it's some great conversations, some great articles, some great information. This Wednesday, we've got the original crew back. We've got Dan, East, Lizzie, and myself, 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Be nice. The original's coming back on Wednesday.
Right. And if you missed any part of today's show, you'll be able to rewatch, as we'll be rebroadcasting each day. And one of our hosts will join you for an online chat during the rebroadcast. So be sure to check back tomorrow also for any of our clips, so you can share clips of our show. All right? So, Z, congratulations for winning. You've got the final word for the night.
Oh, no, I would like to give it to Dr. J. No.
Oh, deferral.
I give it to you, Dr. J. I give it to you.
I just want everybody to continue to stay safe, wear your masks, social distance, wash your hands, and stay safe and be blessed.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Dr. J. We'll see you guys later. See you Wednesday.
Bye.
Shenanigans.